Joining us now is Alex Traiman, CEO of the Jewish News Syndicate. It's far from a done deal, Alex. How is this proposal different from previous attempts, and address the concerns by Hamas as to why they wouldn't agree?
Yeah, good morning, Marni. And honestly, Hamas should be accepting a deal for a permanent ceasefire with the release of all of the remaining hostages, about 20 living hostages and up to 58, including dead bodies that are being held by Gaza. But here, even a deal to release only 10 hostages in two phases and a 6-week ceasefire is not enough for them, because they understand that Israel's goal is really to eliminate Hamas, and the hostages are really the only card that Hamas still holds in its pocket.
So, as far as Hamas is concerned, what guarantees are in place to ensure compliance of a ceasefire?
Well, there's not. Israel has held the ceasefire of every deal that they've signed, and there have been many in order to get the release of hostages. And they're promising a 6-week ceasefire, a return, a withdrawal to positions that they held before this recent incursion, which was significantly further back than where they are now, and the release of, like you mentioned, close to 1,200 Palestinian security prisoners. Many of whom are terrorists, and many of whom have blood on their hands, that were convicted of first-degree murder. So Israel is prepared to maintain its part of the deal. The problem is what comes on the back of that deal. If Israel is going to go back into Gaza after a 6-week ceasefire is finished and try to finish off Hamas, this is what Hamas doesn't want to see. They don't want to see that Israel will be willing to resume the war and ultimately eliminate Hamas as a political force in Gaza.
Alex, how does this proposal address the day after scenario in Gaza in terms of governance and also any security agreements?
Well, we don't really understand what the day after in Gaza is going to look like. I mean, Gaza's been flattened, much of it, and if Hamas is not in power, we don't know who's going to be. Israel said it's not going to be the Palestinian Authority. Meanwhile, every plan for international force to come in, has not really come together at this point. Israel was prepared after this military operation to have full military control over the Gaza Strip. The prime minister also talks about implementing Trump's resettlement plan to get Gazans out of the Strip, those that want to leave voluntarily. And it's believed that hundreds of thousands could be willing to leave. But meanwhile, there's not one country in the world that's opened its doors to allow any significant or meaningful number of Gazans to have the humanitarian right of fleeing a war zone.
Talk about the outside groups involved in some of these talks as the U.S. puts pressure on getting this deal done. Who has the most influence over a very diminished Hamas capability?
Well, the Qataris have a lot of influence, and it's believed that that's why Eden Alexander, the American hostage who was released just a few weeks ago, was done so when the president was en route to Qatar. They're the ones that are mediating on behalf of Hamas, and the president seems like he has a very strong relationship with the Qataris, maybe much stronger relationship than the Israelis would like to see, and yet at the same time, we have not seen that the Qataris are willing to fully give up and expel Hamas leadership from Qatar, or to press them to release every last living and dead hostage they're holding.
And why might that be?
Well, I think that the international community actually wants to see Hamas stay in power, and they want to see the Gazans continue to live in this state of squalor and have it all be Israel's fault. It's almost part of a conspiracy to blame everything on Israel. The whole situation that's in the Gaza Strip, they want it to be blamed on Israel. Meanwhile, if we do not eliminate Hamas as the political power in the Gaza Strip, the Gazan people will never have a future that can be committed to peace and a normal economy.
Well, we're at a crossroads, certainly. It feels as we've said that before. Alex, thanks for joining us on this Friday. We'll see if we're closer to a deal now than we have been.
Thanks so much, Marnie.